Hey, thanks for coming along on this episode of Our American Travel. We sure do appreciate you joining us. I'm Al.
I'm Melanie.
And thanks for tuning in to our 5 most memorable RV destinations, or 5 top destinations, whatever you want to say about it.
That we've taken.
Yeah, we've been to these 5 places that, we picked out of the list of all the places we've been. And they're, as we look at them, they're in no particular order. As you look at them, there may be 3 or 4 more others that we've been to. We'd like to get in there, but we just chose to go with the number 5. We've used 5 a lot in our videos, and hopefully, it keeps it a little briefer. But anyway, these are 5 destinations we think you would like if you visit. And please, if you've been to any of these destinations, hey, take a moment and leave a comment. Say, hey, what you like most about that place, or maybe we saw something you didn't see, or you saw something we didn't see. That'd be great. It would just help us out as we're doing future videos.
So thinking back on the last 2 years and 9 months, right?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. What would be your first of our top 5 destinations?
Well, probably the best destination that we did first was we went on a long summer trip, and we've been on 3 now. And so probably one of the favorite destinations we had on that trip was Lexington, Virginia, and the Natural Bridge area. Wasn't that just awesome?
It was. It was so overwhelmingly beautiful.
It was overwhelmingly beautiful. It was peaceful, historic. It kind of hits all the check marks of things I like. Peace, historic,
nature, the beauty at the Natural Bridge.
Yeah, we're going to roll a little bit of video footage here, and it was just kind of like one of those wow moments that you can't really believe it until you see it. And
in fact, that we both said wow.
Yeah, we both said wow. And in fact, when you see it here, you won't get the full beauty of it unless you actually go visit it. And then at the end, there's a kind of about a mile hike. Is it a mile? Maybe a half mile. I don't remember.
I think it's a mile there and back.
Yeah. So about half a mile out there, there's this beautiful waterfalls, and hopefully, we'll show you some footage of that too. It's called Lace Falls, I think. And it's just one of those things you have to see. And at the same time, it's adjacent, right next to Lexington, Virginia. Right. Natural Bridge State Park, and then Lexington, Virginia is right next to it. And Lexington was just an amazing place. What did you like most about Lexington?
I really liked just the downtown area. Was very, very quaint, and it's a small town.
What's that word mean, quaint?
It was cute. It had very, very
cute. There you go. See, that's what I get.
Trendy shops and really good restaurants. And we had been sweating from hiking, so we found this really.
That was June. So it was hot.
June, yeah. Virginia. Really nice burger joint where she's like, oh yeah, I just picked this up from the farm today, and it was just butchered like yesterday. So very fresh beef, known for their donuts.
And the other thing, I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, it's home to 2 famous universities, Washington and Lee, and Virginia Military Institute. And we actually toured a lot the museum at VMI.
Yeah, VMI, the museum. Just don't miss it. It's awesome. Just a stroll across the kind of the quadrangles, what I would call it, and just checking out the historic barracks. I guess they're dormitories, but like barracks, and just the history that went through there. Stonewall Jackson was once a professor there. Robert E. Lee was the president of Washington College at the time. George Washington left his initials there somewhere and actually donated money to Washington College to keep it. He donated stock, and then George C. Marshall, later of World War II fame and the Marshall Plan, he went to Virginia Military Institute, and I think George Patton started out there before he went to West Point. So there is just so much history. And Stonewall Jackson's home was there.
Toured that as well.
We toured that as well. And so
it's a lot to see and do.
Lots to see in just a little place, and we weren't there very long, and we could have stayed.
We could stay a week.
Stayed a week easily, and so many things close to there. And in fact, we went on from there to some other places, and anyway, that's probably one of our top places that we've been so far.
I agree. Okay, so what was your second?
Well, on that same trip, we kind of made our way up from Lexington up to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and just I'd
never been to Pennsylvania before. That's my first time.
Yeah, I had not been to Gettysburg before. I'd been to Philadelphia a couple of times, but never to Gettysburg. And I'd seen a lot of other Civil War battle sites like Vicksburg and Shiloh and some of the other ones in the South. And I've always wanted to go to Gettysburg, and got to go there, and it's well worth the trip. We spent a couple of days there, and we took the auto tour, which was kind of like, we got a CD or a DVD
or there's a streaming download.
Off your phone, and just kind of did the self-guided tour, and
it was perfectly fine.
It was fine. Now, I've heard a lot of people recommend to pay a little bit extra money, about twice that, maybe $70-$80, and get a 2-hour guided tour by
it's like a personal guide.
He'll come in your car with you and take you
cool.
everywhere you need to go. So I've heard that's really, really good as well. But Gettysburg, obviously, of great historic value. The famous Gettysburg Address, of course, was given there by Abraham Lincoln. And
it's huge. I had no idea how huge it was.
And there's everything from, there's the cyclorama, which is this gigantic, what would you call the cyclorama? It's like
it's a big circle portrait.
Painting,
It's a painting, yeah.
Kind of depicting Pickett's charge, in a kind of an artistic masterpiece, and then it's lit, and you're in this circular room.
The story of the battle, and they focus on different parts of the painting.
So that's really cool. And then we stopped at Little Round Top fame, and some of the other places like Devil's Den and Cemetery Ridge, and just some of the great battles that happened during Civil War. And of course, we went to the cemetery where Abraham Lincoln supposedly gave the Gettysburg Address.
But no one knows exactly where.
No one knows the exact spot, apparently, and,
really weird.
I guess there's some argument about it.
Yeah. I'd recommend going to the visitor center first. We did the audio tour one day, and then we went. So we did it kind of backwards.
Yeah, go to the visitor center and kind of check everything out there, and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe talk to the guy, the people in the information booth. We found those to be very helpful.
Yes.
We didn't do that there, but we should have.
We should have.
Anyway. Really, just kind of history comes alive there. Also, we visited Dwight Eisenhower's house that he later gave to the national park, and
it was so cool.
That was pretty cool.
Go in because we went during it was still recovery from COVID. It was 2021.
Yeah.
But hopefully now they've opened. But it was cool. You could look through the windows. Some of them. So
pretty cool. We'd been to his library in Kansas, and now this was where the last place that he lived. And they didn't live there long because. He didn't live a whole lot longer than that. But anyway, it was very cool. Awesome. The Gettysburg experience is well worth 3 or 4 or 5 days at Gettysburg.
Yes, definitely.
Hey, well, the third RV destination of the places we've been that we like the most is probably, and these are not in any particular order necessarily.
They're kind of in chronological order.
Order instead. Is Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. It's a national park in Kentucky. And kind of, I think it's South Central Kentucky. It is amazing. It's something you don't want to miss. What do you like most about that? Or what can you tell us about that? Or say something.
You don't make it very easy. I love that.
You want me to break in?
First thing, if you go in the summer, it's really cool in the caves. So bring warm clothes.
It was hot outside and cool inside for sure.
So that's kind of cool, nice. I would say the most important thing is to make reservations early, because we ended up buying tickets I think the day before, and we wanted to do some other tours later, and they were sold out by the time we got there that morning. So there's several different tours you could take, but in addition to tours, they have hiking, several hiking trails, biking trails, horseback riding, canoeing, and camping. It's 53,000 acres. We took the Gothic tour, which was a small personal tour. We had about 15 to 20 on ours.
Not very many.
It was not. It's considered a moderate tour. You has
for old people
170 stairs, as opposed to most people take the historic tour, which has 540 stairs, and it's 2 miles. But even they went pretty slow. I would say as long as you can take the stairs, I don't think it would be that bad, because you've got a guide and they stop and talk like the whole time. But the historic tour had a lot more people on them, so we liked the personal.
We liked the Gothic tour.
Yes.
It was good for us, and now we may do the other one if we go back. Go back. We'll get so many other places to see though. I don't know if we'll make it back or not.
And it's a dry cave, so I know that I think of caves it did have some
dripping water and stuff like that.
But this is a dry cave, and it kind of took me by surprise. And did you know why it's named the Gothic Tour? I found that out.
I can't remember.
It's because several of these stone formations look like Gothic architecture.
Yeah, and we have some pictures of that, and hopefully we'll have shown you those by now.
Anyway, we really loved it. It was pretty awesome. And there are other tours in Cave City as well that you can take.
Yeah, there's other caves. There's 400 miles of caves that have been discovered just in the cave system, and then there's other caves outside this Mammoth Cave system that they have private tours, and we went on one of those. And
we went to Crystal Onyx Cave.
Anyway, pretty good area of Kentucky, pretty close to there. There's lots of things to do, so I'd recommend you spend a couple of days there for sure, 2-3 days at Mammoth Cave, and check that off of the bucket list for sure.
Okay, so what is, because we're going to do 5, right? What's another one?
Top 5?
Top
Our
5,
top 5?
yes.
This will be the 4th one?
This will be the 4th one. What's your 4th most favorite? And
well,
these are all in equal, not of one. It's not like the first is the best. It's,
and there's probably 3 or 4 others that could have hit the list, but we're just going to stick to 5. Petit Jean State Park in central Arkansas, kind of just northwest. It was just an awesome place to visit. We visited for a long weekend, like Memorial Day weekend, was it?
It was Memorial Day. But it was really, really cool, so that was nice.
Yeah, and
sometimes
it's a couple thousand feet, or
yes,
no, not quite 2,000. I guess it's 1,500 or 1,000 feet up, and
it barely meets the mountain.
Actually, it's a
dome. It's got a dome.
It's called something else, though. It's not.
Yeah, I can't remember. I have to go watch our video.
It's a mesa.
That's it.
It is a mesa, so it has this flat top to it. And so it's a great place. It has lots of scenic overlooks. It has a lake up on top, Lake Bailey, where you can do a lot of water activities. There's lots of great hiking.
We did a lot of hiking, surprisingly, and we enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it. It was. It wasn't
more than any other state park, I think.
I guess it wasn't. You would expect it to be very hilly, and it was a little hilly, but not awful. We went on a couple of. What do you call it? Interpretive programs with the park rangers, and they were relatively short hikes, maybe a half mile to a mile.
Or even if though they were longer, if you go with an interpretive ranger, they stop and talk.
Yeah, they'll turn a 10-minute, what would be a 20-minute hike into an hour.
Yeah,
just
because they stop so much because they
exactly stop and talk about history, and they talk about the legend of Petit Jean, which was you'll have to watch our video to find out about that.
But it's just a beautiful place.
Beautiful site along the historic. It overlooks the Arkansas River, and so lots of history came through there as Americans traveled to the west.
And there's an amazing waterfall. We did not do this hike because it recommended hiking boots with ankle support. But I've heard that it's one of the most
and we have a couple of pictures or a couple of short videos of the waterfall from a distance.
From above.
Yeah, from above. So. Pretty cool place. Don't miss Petit Jean Mountain. If you're ever headed on I-40 between, say, Little Rock and Oklahoma City, a great place to stop off for a couple of days. Now, I will warn you, if you're pulling a travel trailer or something up, there's a 14% grade for about a half a mile, and so it's a pretty good pull, and it scared us a little bit. It's the first time we've done that.
But call them even if it says it's full. When we were there, a lot of same days were available.
There were some same days available, and there was some overflow that seemed to be pretty empty. And they probably would get you in if.
And you have a lake view on the overflow. You just don't have a pad.
Yeah, and the good times are hard to get, and the lake views are hard to get. So there's some older parks. So make sure you reserve in advance and. Call them if you need to.
No, they're sold out for the eclipse viewing in 2024. So sorry, they were sold out when we got there. I think.
That's exactly right. Anyway, check out Petit Jean Mountain State Park. I think you'll love it.
Okay, so for our last one, it's hard to pick.
Number 5.
Ding 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 ding.
Number 5. I know you guys are ready for number 5. Is historic Natchez, Mississippi.
Yes.
Beautiful southern town.
Yes.
And I'd never been there either. I was born in southern Mississippi.
I've been to Natchez, but never the historic part.
Yeah, I'd never even been, and it's awesome. It sits just across the Mississippi River from Louisiana.
Yes.
We actually stayed in an RV park over in Louisiana and visited Natchez, for the 2 or 3 days that we were there. And there's just a wealth of things to do. Everything from we happened to be on Saturday. We went to the farmers market.
Oh, that was so cool.
And we visited 3 historic antebellum homes and lots of great stories. You'll have to check out our video. We'll post it in the show notes. All the videos of these places that we went, and you'll have to check them out because it was awesome.
Now that one we went in summer and it was extraordinarily hot because we could have walked to 2 of the 3 homes, but after we walked to one, we're like, no.
No, we're not walking.
So
again.
Go during the spring or the fall.
Yeah, if you can get there in spring and fall, gosh.
Yeah, it'd
cool.
be perfect. Now that's when they do the pilgrimage, so it is a little bit more crowded, but.
Yeah, and in addition to the things to do in Natchez and the great places to eat, and down under is very historic.
Under the hill.
Under the hill is very famous for supposedly Mark Twain used to stop there when he was a riverboat captain, and lots of riverboat pirates would hang out there. Anyway, very historic, but also it's kind of the beginning spot of what's known as the Natchez Parkway or the Natchez Trace.
Yes.
And the Natchez Trace Parkway, which is a road that was built off of the Natchez Trace. Natchez Trace was a Native American trail that basically turned into a scenic highway. It was also used like when people came down from the Ohio River to the Mississippi River down to Louisiana, rather than trying to get the boat back up, they would, tear the boat apart, sell the lumber, and then they would walk back. And they'd walk along the Natchez Trace all the way to like Louisville, Kentucky.
Did not
and
know
so
that.
it was faster to walk back than to try to take it was prior to the steamboats.
Okay, so then to go upstream, yeah.
And so that's kind of where it came from. And then there's now a historic parkway, and you can actually drive up it. And there's lots of historic, small historic villages along the way that you can visit.
Yeah, there's places to stop, but there are no bathrooms. So,
well, you got to find the right places for the bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, we stopped and went in our travel trailer, so.
Yeah, we were pulling on a travel trailer, the little piece of the parkway that we went on, and that's probably a trip we'll do someday.
Yes.
We'll just go, to Louisville or Natchez and just go the whole
that would be cool.
trip and spend a couple of days here and there, and kind of take the little side trips out to see different places along the trace. That'd be a great trip. Anyway, I just think if you're into history, pre-Civil War, post-Civil War, particularly, a lot of the cotton business was kind of driven out of Natchez there. And so
there's interesting history as to why none of these homes were destroyed, because that was my big thing. I grew up in Atlanta, and Sherman burned down, part of Georgia, which, that's history. And you'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, you can watch the video, but essentially, Natchez,
were gone.
There were a lot of Northern sympathizers
there
in Natchez.
And all the men that weren't, they were gone fighting somewhere else.
They were all fighting, and so they kind of
surrendered.
They kind of gave them a pass. They surrendered, kind of gave them a pass. But anyway, so
but it did preserve
some history that's not preserved in other places. Yeah. So beautiful place. So anyway, Natchez, you don't want to miss it. Please take 2 or 3 days and spend time in that beautiful RV destination. Hey, we sure do appreciate you watching this episode of Our American Travel. Thanks so much for coming along.
Hey, and if you can, leave a comment for us, because we're looking at next summer, and we are looking for places to visit in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia, because we have to go down to North Carolina and see our super duper grandson and his parents.
Yeah, we
so
can't.
Please let us know your most memorable destinations in those 4 states.
Yes, please do. Hey, as always, we would love it if you would like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Ding! We're awful. I am. Anyway, please do that, and thanks for coming along. Remember, it's all about the journey to infinity and beyond.